Good afternoon, everybody. It's 3:13 p.m. It's September 22nd, 2023, Friday. I hope everybody's doing well. I wanted to get on here a little sooner, but I lost internet connection because I needed to have my router upgraded. And unbeknownst to me, they turned off the Wi-Fi, which means that I had no internet connection or phone service. It was about an hour and a half before the service people got here. But anyway, I'm back up and running. But I want to tell you something that happened to me. It's not the first time since I'm living in Kentucky. It never happened in New Jersey. So I cook for myself. I cook everything from scratch for the most part. So yesterday I cooked, and how I usually do it, I cook a huge omelet that's going to last me at least 2 days. You know, it's so that I don't have to cook every day. So I start with the usual oils in the pan, and then I cut up an entire onion, and then I cut up an entire potato. I chopped it up, and then homegrown basil, spices, turmeric, cilantro, salt, sea salt. And I also cut up a homegrown zucchini, a yellow zucchini. And then on top of that, I'll add all of my farm fresh eggs and let it simmer for a while, and then I flip it over. And usually, I'll give a little bit to my chickens, and then I have some for the week. So I did this yesterday, and I prepared enough for me to eat yesterday, and then to fill a little Tupperware, or a medium-sized Tupperware. When I pulled it out to eat for lunch today, the criminals cut it in half and stole half of it. This is not the first time this has happened. It happened about 2 years ago. I prepared food for myself, and I went into the refrigerator, and the entire Tupperware was gone with all the food. I never got the Tupperware back. So I guess these people are so hungry that they need to steal my prepared food too. So, we're going to talk about the enemy of the state. The reason I'm bringing it up is because one of our wonderful subscribers wrote in the comments section of my latest video that he felt that what best described our situation is how they are treating us, is that they are treating us as if we're an enemy of the state. Now, the very first time I'd ever heard that term before was in police officer Edward Hedden, formerly of the Manalapan, New Jersey Police Department. He filed a complaint against the Manalapan Police Department, the town of Manalapan, and the former retired Chief of Police Michael Fountain. And in the lawsuit, it states that former Chief of Police Michael Fountain called his own police officer an enemy of the state and reported him to the prosecutor's office. Could you imagine that? Imagine. Well, that's what narcissists do. They like to turn the tables on things and flip a switch. So, until then, I never heard the term enemy of the state. I always figured like an enemy of the state after I heard that was like a real criminal, like somebody who's a real threat, like with weapons and who's going to take down the government or whatever. So I asked AI today, you know how honest AI is, right? So I asked AI, what is an enemy of the state? And this is the response I received. An enemy of the state is a term used to describe an individual or group that is perceived, keyword, perceived, as a threat to the government or the established order within a particular country. This designation is often applied to the government or ruling authorities to justify various actions or measures against those deemed as enemies. So this is what they do. In order to justify what they're going to do to a person, is they label them an enemy of the state to justify the actions that they take against the person. Sort of like Julian Assange, right? And about us. So these actions can range from surveillance and monitoring to arrest, imprisonment, and even more extreme measures, such as exile or execution, depending on the severity of the perceived threat and the policies of the governing regime. So this is all ambiguous, folks. It's all open to interpretation. It's all ambiguous. The concept of an enemy of the state can be subjective, there you go, and politically charged, as it often is to label dissenters, political activists, or individuals who oppose the government's policies, ideologies, and actions. In some cases, the term may be used legitimately to describe individuals or groups engaged in violent or criminal activities that pose a genuine threat to the national security. However, in other instances, it can be used to suppress opposition and silence critics, potentially leading to human rights abuses and violations of civil liberties. It's essential to note that the definition and application of the term can vary significantly from one country to another and may depend on the political, social, and cultural context. The label enemy of the state is often subject of debate, and the concept raises important questions about government authority, individual rights, and the balance between national security and civil liberties. So then I asked, I thought about this a little bit, and I said to AI, is the enemy of the state legal? The response I received is enemy of the state is not a legal status or designation in most legal systems. You hear that? Enemy of the state is not a legal status or designation in most legal systems. Instead, it is a term commonly used in politics and popular culture to describe individuals or groups perceived as a threat to the government or the established order, as I explained in the previous response. Okay, so AI is a smartass, right? So the use of this term is often subjective and can vary widely depending on the political climate and the actions of a particular government. So this is not a legal term, folks. It's just a term commonly used to describe people. It is an adjective. It's describing something. It's not a legal term. Governments have legal mechanisms and processes to deal with individuals or groups they consider threats to national security stability. These mechanisms typically involve law enforcement agencies, the judiciary, and established legal procedures. In democratic countries with a strong rule of law, individuals have a right to due process and legal protection, including the right to a fair trial and legal representation. However, in authoritarian regimes, you hear that? Authoritarian regimes or times of emergency, I don't know, there was no emergency in 2012, or 13, or 14, or 15, or 16, or 17, or 18, or 19. Authoritarian regimes, or in times of emergency, governments may use their authority to target perceived enemies without due process, leading to human rights abuses and legal actions, legal violations. And in such cases, the actions taken against individuals or groups may be considered illegal under international law or human rights standards. However, the legality of government actions against perceived enemies varies widely depending on the specific circumstances, the legal framework in place, and the extent to which these actions adhere to established legal norms and principles. It is essential for the rule of law and human rights protections that governments operate within the bounds of their own legal systems and international legal standards when dealing with individuals or groups they perceive as threats. Do you hear that? It is essential for the rule of law and human rights protections that the government operates within the bounds of their own legal systems and international legal standards when dealing with individuals or groups they perceive as threats, which means that they're not above the law. It is essential for the rule of law and human rights protections that the government operates within the bounds of their own legal systems and international legal standards when dealing with individuals or groups they perceive as threats. Thank you, AI. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree that the government needs to obey the laws too. Yes. And again, are we supposed to be a democracy? Because AI specifically states that, like, literally only in authoritarian regimes or times of emergency can governments use their authority to target perceived enemies without due process. And it does lead to human rights abuses and legal violations. And in such cases, the actions taken against individuals or groups may be considered illegal under international law or human rights standards. So there you have it, folks. The GOV needs to abide by the rule of law and the human rights protections. And that it is important that they operate within the bounds of their own legal systems and international legal standards. There you have it. Even AI said it. So somebody programmed AI. Thank you, AI. I'm sure my followers will thank you as well. Please leave your questions and comments down below. I appreciate it. Please hit the thumbs up. And also, you know, the channel is monetized now. I'm not getting very much money, that's for sure. But it does help if you listen to one of the ads through its entirety. It's not long, folks. You know, it's literally maybe 30 seconds. But if you listen to one full ad, it helps generate income for the channel. Rather, you know, I don't want to start begging for money for me to continue this and raise money for my cat rescue. But it does help if you're able to not only comments are helpful, but hitting the thumbs up, you know, liking and sharing, and also listening to, you know, at least one full advertisement. So I appreciate all you guys. I look so forward to hearing what you have to say about the enemy of the state and how it's a perception, how they perceive, right? And when we're talking about the perceptions of psychopaths, sociopaths, and personality disordered narcissists, well, those perceptions are going to be way off. So I will cut and paste whatever I can into the description so that you're able to reread some of this. This is Lorraine Alternatives Homesteading signing off for now.